Hello, good morning. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning NASDAQ. You are live right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel. Today is the second day of July, year of our Lord 2024, the week of 4th of July. Happy Independence Day to all you Americans out there. You're joined today by Mr. Kyle Williams. I am Don Master Mateo, members of the Clover Trading family. And we have all of you in there. We got Mash for Fun, JJ, Tom, Joseph. Good morning. Good morning. Make sure you're in there over in the Clover Trading YouTube chat, posting your questions, comments, concerns. If it's concerns, it probably won't be read by me, but you're more than welcome to put them in there. Make sure, as always, that you are subscribed to the channel. It is free. It's all that we ask from you over here on YouTube. Help grow the community. Of free content. We post videos every single Monday. We are live every day that the market is open. And all that we ask from you is that you subscribe to the channel and that you hit that thumbs up button. So now's a great time, better than any, to check. Make sure that you did, in fact, hit that thumbs up button. Get that number up to 50, and you won't hear a peep from me. Welcome in, Mr. Kyle, my cohort and co-host. How are we doing this morning?
Hello. We're feeling great after waking up to a lovely profit on OPTT. Great way to start the day. Makes me want to just be done. I won't even make it to the market open. We're just done for the day. But no, there's still some things out there to want to watch. But it's a good start for sure.
I made my watch this last night, and it is as dry as the Sahara Desert. And we're running out of things for me to keep an eye on. A lot of the stuff that I've had on watch has either failed or worked, and we are kind of in the need of some gappers to go on runs. We need some stocks to run to keep an eye on them. We had a nice stretch last week of a couple breakouts working. We had some first screen days work as well. Obviously, big breakout OPTT yesterday. And need some new tickers. Need some friendly, good old-fashioned friendly fun. But it is a slower week. It is a holiday week, so tomorrow will be a half day. Market will close at 1 p.m. Eastern. Then Thursday will be off for the festivities of the 4th of July. And then we'll be back on Friday. So kind of can guess that it's going to be slower. There's going to be less volume, less liquidity in the markets. But we push on, and we will take whatever the market can give us. You mentioned one of them, OPTT, is actually a gapper of the day, up 70%. We'll talk about that one. We'll talk about the other ones that are up in the 60s. Nothing crazy right now. But we'll get into it. If you have any questions about tickers that you want us to talk about, make sure you put them over there in the chat, and we will get to them as we please. How's that sound, Kyle?
Sounds splentacular.
We'll have a sip of the coffee.
Made my own word up there, right there.
Huh?
It says spectacular and splendid. I said splentacular.
That rolls off the tongue real nice.
I was like, that's a new one.
Real nice. Last reminder, hit that thumbs up button, because it's only at 29. I'd like to see it higher. All right, biggest gapper of the day is now officially OPTT, so we might as well start there. If I can get you to some information. Ocean Power Technologies, former runner, back, I believe, we'll look at the chart in a second, back in 2020 and 2021. Kind of a crappier company now. 58 million float. Let's see. They did just PR. That's what's kind of accelerating the gap right now, but it was already a nice breakout, turned into an after-hours gapper up in the high 30s yesterday. Let's see. Over the past, I want to see, 625 and 626. So in this area, 6 to 8 days ago, just some random PRs. A supplier for delivery AI-capable Marrows in the Middle East. Agreement in principle for delivery of multiple unmanned surface vehicles to U.S. government. So they're just kind of throwing out buzzwords and big, fancy things like U.S. government, AI. Signed an OEM agreement with maritime technology provider Teledyne. They're doing all sorts of things. And this morning, nothing different. They are partnering with a unique group for autonomous vehicle services in the Middle East, probably trying to take advantage of the EV sector. Tesla had a pretty big breakout yesterday, or over the past few days, over the 200s, I believe. Shout out to Mark Crook for nailing those calls in the room. So it looks like they're just doing whatever they can to keep the stock bumped up with whatever buzzwords matter. And you saw that this morning with so far pretty good reaction to it. As far as dilution goes, they have negative 2.8 months of cash. I know you went through this yesterday. What were the highlights?
I briefly look. They're just not a. I don't know specifically. Let me double check see if I see anything. But they just have had a history of really ugly dilution, and they need cash pretty badly.
Called JG Wentworth.
Yeah, I believe they have an ATM that's available to be sold. I believe they have a shelf, if I'm not mistaken, or either that or they're trying to get their stock price higher to unlock a bigger shelf. Either way, I think this ends in an offering, which was my biggest fear of taking it overnight when I was long yesterday. However, it's not yet. So this could run higher, could run lower. I really don't know where and how far it goes until the party's over. But I do think it eventually does end in some kind of financing, whether it's tomorrow, next week, who knows when. But they need cash like yesterday. So we will see.
Yeah, like I said, went on a pretty incredible run back in 2020, 2021, much like a lot of other stocks in, the majority of the stocks in the stock market. And ever since then have really been fading off quite cleanly. Lower highs, new lows, all the way down into the sub 20 cent area over the past few months. So there isn't a ton of big volume resistance on the daily chart. There is tops. Obviously, when you're coming off your lows on the top left to bottom right chart, you're going to run into areas of resistance. But with the volume we've been able to accumulate over the past few days, upwards of 400 million, average of probably 100 to 150 million. Not too concerned with that. More just concerned on how far we ran in the past 2 days. Breakout got going in the low 20s to as high as 50 right now. So over 100% move on a decent sized float in a lower price stock is already a pretty phenomenal move. The small piece I had yesterday from 26, I sold in after hours yesterday at 37. We're already, who knows if I would have made it to the 8 a.m. window once I saw it kind of gapping down off of yesterday's after hours highs. But once the PR came in, saved the day, spiked another, what's 30 to 50 is 60%. Pretty incredible move so far, and kind of fits into a plethora of different patterns now. Is with the overextended gap up, potential gap and crap, whatever whatever it is. I think the general thesis is it's very difficult for these stocks on these type of gaps and these type of runs to hold up and continue higher. One thing I will note is this morning is volume is already at 82 million. Yesterday on a decent breakout day where, I thought it was a little bit too much too soon from the 20s to the 27 area, which was the breakout. Volume stayed and it held up, from a 23, 24 area to 27 range all afternoon before breaking out basically end of day and then into after hours. But we only did 144 million yesterday and we've already done 82. So you got to think volume is going to come into play today as well, right, Kyle?
Yeah. I think the question is just how much. If it out the open immediately doubles its volume to 160 and it's only even 20-30 minutes into the day, then it's like, okay, this could be fairly large. Or it's like sometimes pre-market, especially with a PR, I mean that could be the peak here. It could have, the first 15 minutes might be big, and then I don't know, some kind of shift happens and volume just fades and just gets pretty much non-existent. It's a bit hit or miss in my experience trying to really predict how big it can be perfectly or accurately by pre-market, but I think by the first hour then you can get a good idea of like, okay, how much bigger it's really going to get. So we'll see.
Yes. So that's kind of your thoughts, looking at it as an overextended gap up, gauging the volume, and just seeing if this gap can hold up on a somewhat crappy company. In a situation where there should be a whole lot of sellers as well, holding this from the 20s to 30 cent area into today. Red green being all the way down at, or green red down at the breakout level 27.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's hope that some other gappers came to play, and they didn't. Nothing popped up in the last 5 minutes. The next one on my list is VS
versus systems.
versus systems.
They had a PR
obviously.
yesterday.
Huh?
They had a PR yesterday in after hours.
Okay. Let's take a look. Kind of reminds me of a chart we saw yesterday, actually, as a gap and crapper. 1.51 million float. They are a software application company out of Canada.
Canada.
A strategic restructuring, new interim CEO and key investor engagement, was yesterday at 4:05 p.m. We'll take a look at what that did to the chart here in a minute. Just looking at some of their other news. They regained compliance within the last 5 months via a 1-for-16 reverse stock split.
Shocker.
Got their float down to a nice 1.51 million. Let's see. 1.7 months of cash. They have some offerings.
They have warrants at 160 from February. Not sure. Can't really know. Don't know if I can prove if they've used those or not. But actually, since February, it's been above 160. It just never has had any volume above 160. Actually, in June it did. Early June, and that was kind of like a gap and crap to some degree. Not really, but it did. It wasn't a strong day, so maybe they used some warrants then. Let me keep looking, see if I can see if they still have any warrants of those left.
Taking a look at the daily chart now. Has a history of decent volume days in which it has actually spiked quite a bit. These are all red candles, but on these gaps, back here in 2023 in October, ran from 7 to 20. Obviously, this was post-split numbers, so it would have been different numbers. I think I said 1 for 15, so divide if you will. But that's a giant wick up into the sky. The next one is a decent-sized wick on a gap and crap day. End up closing right around where it opened. Some volume here with wicks as well. And then most recently, kind of a crappy little run from the 1s to the $2 area before fading off right back to its base down here at 120s. And gapping kind of into that previous resistance at $2 right now, as high as $2.50. Kind of holding up in the low 2s right now. Looks kind of similar to, what was the one yesterday? CSLR.
CSLR, yeah.
Same kind of price range, same kind of crappy resistance that it was just kind of gapping into. I think this one was a bigger float, but it did end up going, almost retracing the entire move. And now we got VS doing a very similar thing with a much lower float.
Forget what I said about the warrants. That was I was missing the date wrong. They did that back in 2022, so quite old news there. But they need, again, similar to OPT, they need cash. Not as urgently as OPTT, but quickly. They just don't have anything huge in the tank for offerings, but they've done plenty of them, so it shouldn't be hard for them to conjure another one up. But I do like what you said on the daily chart. Like this has had some really solid runs, but it quickly doesn't hold its gains. So, if you're short, be afraid of maybe some spike that gets a little bit overdone. But if you're long, don't overstay because it just might give its gains all back by the end of the day. So
yeah,
we'll see.
And it's only up 58%, so it's not like the hottest commodity out there, the coolest thing to be a part of. Haven't really had one of those this week. We haven't had 100% plus capper this week, and I don't even know going into last week, towards the end of last week, if there was really all that much going on. But definitely a good market right now for gap and crappers. I've seen a ton of them work, and we'll see what VS does. If it can open a little bit higher, be more enticing, or if it just kind of fades off here in the next 26 minutes and just opens at 50 or 60% up on the day. But not the most interesting group of gappers we've ever seen. Even OPTT is lower right now. Really just not a lot going on this holiday week. It kind of sucks because you just kind of know in anticipation that they're going to be slower weeks. And you try to just take whatever you can out of the market. If you had OPTT, I saw some amazing trades from some Clovers. I saw Aaron, who's been to, I think, every boot camp we've ever had. Met him a bunch of times in person. Great guy. Made $14,000 overnight on OPTT. So big congrats to him if he's watching. Maybe some W's in the chat for him. That's a phenomenal trade. I saw others who did really well on it. So that's awesome. Awesome to see. I saw some questions come in. Someone brought up Tesla wild action. We can throw that chart up real quick. Just really big breakout here on a Tesla after consolidating, coming off its lows in the 170 to 190 area, breaking out over 200. Higher this morning as well. Oh, something must just have happened on it. I got to sneeze. Did you say something?
Nope. Just bless you.
But getting back, was red on the day. Now is spiking into the 220s. So that is big. See if that pushes any EV up as well this week. Someone asked a question. How do you adapt your strategy based on different market cycles? What changes do you make in your strategy to cope with it? For me, I try not to change too much. I really want to just know how is the pattern working right now. Is there more of it, less of it? And when I do see it, how is it playing out? The only changes I really make are probably with exit strategy. There are definitely periods where I want to be more conservative with price targets and take profits sooner. And there are certain markets when it's their sector momentum or there's a hot price range when I want to make sure I'm holding into the next day or giving it as much time as possible to really maximize those gains and that potential. So for me, it has a lot more to do with exit strategy and then just if I need to be in those trades in general. If it's a lot slower, maybe I just thicken my criteria a bit and increase liquidity requirements or what I want to see for my entries. But as far as the pattern playing out, I look for the same type of thing. It just might be a little bit quicker or a little bit more patient with my profit targets and maybe just taking fewer trades in that category.
Yeah, I think the three things that come to mind that I would like modulate in my head to adapt would be you're either doing what Dom is doing, which is you change how you trade them, whether you're being not more aggressive, but being more patient or being more nimble in terms of just like, hey, this isn't working right away. I need to be getting out if it's not in a strong environment, or if it's in a good environment for those setups. You may be early or late, but they are working right now, and so you give it more time, and it ends up maybe working more times than not. The other two would just be how you size into them. So maybe they're not working great, so you just take smaller size across the board just to mitigate risk overall, and ultimately mitigate any gap or drawdowns that may happen in a tougher market, or the frequency of how much you just trade them. Like, just don't trade them at all. Like, if they're that bad and they really don't work, whatever particular setup we may be talking about here in this example, you just cut it out completely until you see something different. There's been times where I've had to do that, where I, for the life of me, can't get profitable on the long side. There's been periods of months where every long trade I take is a loser. And so there's been months where I say, you know what, we're going to just take it off. We're going to take off buying any stock until I see something that's a little more favorable. And yeah, so I've done it. Those are the three things I think you can really have good control over, regardless what setup it is.
Wonderful. We did also just get to 50 likes, so golf snaps for you guys. Congratulations.
Nice.
So awesome to see. A couple more tickers you guys want questions on. Someone said MLGO first green day. Not on my watch list. If I can get you there. And just not perfect, not clean. It's kind of the problem I have is how much consolidation there was after this $15 breakout. So I kind of look at this as one move here from 5 to 21, and then there's a brief period of consolidation here before attempting to go higher that gets stuffed pretty hard and fails, and then we have a consolidation day that's not really, I don't really call that like a first red day, and then we kind of fade off yesterday. So it's just not clean action. I really want to see extension from the mean and then sharp pullbacks over a day or two that get me back down to where we came from. This is just kind of very slowly after its initial big squeeze. It's been slow to the upside and slow to the downside. And so I think there's been a lot of time for people to be worked out in both directions. It is also a former Chinese scam. So anything I can do to not play them, I'm happier to do so. And yeah, I wish I could get the daily chart of NNE, but I can't get it on E-Trade. And I could show you the difference of what would make me interested, because that one was quite clean and perfect for Friday. So MLGO, leaving it alone for now. Just not that clean of a setup. Someone also asked RGS first green day, which is going to be a very harsh no because it doesn't fit the pattern and the volume is horrible. I participated in this breakout day and was it was disturbing how bad it was, the volume and liquidity. And again, it's just not the pattern. It spiked from 6 to 24, but it consolidated before trying to go higher. And then this pullback has just been light on horrible volume. And there's just not a lot of eyes and attention here. The main factor I want to buy backside moves is A, for it to be backside. This isn't backside. This is just sitting at 20, which is only $4 away from the highs and a lot farther from the lows. So, this is in an overall uptrend, in my opinion, so it doesn't really fit the pattern that way. But also liquidity is just so bad that really, if I'm buying it for a breakout or buying it for a first green day, or wouldn't even want to short it either, like the volume is just too low in all regards to be interested. Yesterday did 300,000 shares, so not that great. And the spreads are horrible, and it's just a no to anything for it. Let's see, any other questions? Nothing I like more than ticker with a question mark. RDZN, why don't you take this one, Kyle?
RDZN, let's just take a look. So it looks like a gapper that's up 43%, which isn't much. Recent SPAC had quite a few days of volume in the last week, but didn't really go anywhere. And they're up on earnings with a negative earnings, but looks like to be possibly an earnings winner because it's gapping up. This is nothing to me. I don't trade earnings winners per se directly are looking for earnings winners. I don't really like to trade gappers only up 43%. And yeah, it's just not, it's day one. So there's all those criterias or things I just listed don't fit any criteria for a setup for me. So yeah, it's nothing I see. Nothing. I probably won't be watching this ticker the rest of the day.
Yeah, nope. Don't like it at all. I don't know what I'd do with it.
Nope.
GMM, a couple people asking about another lower percent gapper, up 31% right now, kind of coming off its lows. Did some sort of dump back in January, February, March, and then kind of a gap and crap that led to back right down to its base, sub $1 back here in end of April. I don't really like these charts to the long side just because I don't like fresh resistance when we're so far away from them. I mean, when we're so far away from the actual resistance, because I think any run inside of that is actually more difficult. I'd probably be more interested. I mean, I wouldn't probably take it because the percent would be up too much. But when it's closer to the resistance, so at least I can see it fighting in that area. I just don't really like these stickers. To the long side, it's not up enough. On the short side, it's only up 32%. I don't have a pattern for it. It's just a day one gapper right now to the long side with resistance right overhead, all up in this 115 to 180s area, with some sort of history. Something happened on this day where it dumped from 3 down to sub $1. I don't know if this was an ex-China one, or I can do a quick search. It is out of China, so this is probably an ex-China scam, correct?
What trigger?
GMM. Yeah, looks
yes.
like it. Yep.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And besides MLGO, rarely do we ever see these stocks go on a big run again. That's the only one I can really think of in my mind that has actually garnered attention over and over again. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is just some sort of bottom bounce off its lows. An hour ago, they did have news. They launched. How are they allowed to have the name Metaverse in their name? Launched a $69 million fund with strategic partners to foster growth opportunities in the AI, digital economy, and entertainment sectors. So take of that what you will. I'm not all that interested in it. Maybe in a world where it spiked really hard into the 180s and rejected, maybe you have some sort of short into resistance, but I just kind of find it hard to believe it's going to get there. Kyle must agree.
I agree. No new thoughts.
Someone said WENA first green day. Nope. Not for me, at least. It could work. I just don't think it has high odds. It's kind of a weird daily chart out of nowhere. The day it gapped, it didn't run. It just opened and pretty much faded. and then multiple days of fade. It's definitely way off its highs. It's come back down to where it came from. Liquidity is quite poor, less than $1.6 million volume. So definitely low. I just don't think there's a whole lot of interest in people buying the stock when on day one it didn't work. And so I really only want to focus on day one potential reversals or first green days if they actually went on really big runs. And here this is 930 right here, just straight dump and then fade. So I am not interested in this one. It is popping up in pre-market on, let me see the volume right now, 473K. So it's already a little bit over, halfway to yesterday. So could bounce, could work. But even then, it's already up 20%. So not something that I'm watching too closely. Alrighty, and it's already 9:16. Someone says, "Hi Dom, how do you use TOS with center point?" What is TOS?
Thinkorswim.
You don't.
Yeah, you don't.
You use DOS.
You have,
or you just use them for your order entry, and then you use TOS as your charts. So I use E-Trade as my charts, and a lot of what I do is with DOS. So I just don't like the way DOS charts look. But it's always a personal preference. But it is 9:16. All you 4-leaf clovers, you have a webinar with me today at 11 a.m. So looking forward to that. Bring your questions, assuming the market is going to be somewhat slow. Just letting let you guys know, on Thursday we will be running a 4th of July sale. If you missed the boot camp, those are always going to be the best discounts. So for future reference, if you want to know how to get in at the best discounts, that is the way to do it. But we will be doing a 4th of July from Thursday through Sunday. And it will be 10% off 3-month, 20% off 6-month, and 30% off 12-month 3 or 4 leaf subscriptions. Correct, Kyle?
yes.
So if you want access to that, keep an eye out on our socials. I will probably remind you Wednesday morning, tomorrow as well, once the code is set and ready to go. But you will have a few days to do that if you've been waiting to try us out and get educated on the all things stock market.
Also, I think we're doing a little special thing with this 4th of July. If you want even more savings, I think we're offering an extra 5% on top of all those discounts for people who want to share their favorite Instagram post from Clover's page. So if you go to Clover's Instagram page, find your favorite reel, video, photo, whatever.
Plenty to choose from.
Yeah, plenty to choose from. Post on your story and then tag the Clover page. You should probably, if you do those correctly, you'll get a DM with an extra code that gets you off more % off the discounts. So a little extra incentive there for you guys, whoever wants to get more savings. So
wonderful, fantastic. All right, well, thank you guys for being here. Appreciate your support. Appreciate your likes and your subscriptions, your subscribers. What do you call it? I don't know. Thank you for being here. We'll be live tomorrow in 24 hours at 9:15 a.m. to wrap up this first half of the week for some live trading, 9:15 to 9:45. So you know where to be right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel. That is all for me, Dom, and him, Kyle. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see all you Clovers over in the room right now. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
peace out.